You've heard of the 9 Circles of Hell. Well, have you heard of the Swiftologist YouTube channel? Like, I try to do this the honest way. I try to do this the nice way. I try to make videos that genuinely captivate people who are into music. I try to make reviews. I try to do all that. We've tried our best, but you know what? At the end of the day, this is my last ditch attempt. Catching bodies is my last ditch attempt, okay? And today we're catching the body of Swiftologist. I know that your time has come early. Your time has come early. I had a myriad of other people on the list before you. I liked you, bro. I liked you. Kinda. I don't hate Zach. His opinions are just honestly sometimes dog shit and uneducated. And somehow it's about pop girls, which is supposed to be your thing. Somehow me, Mr. like black pilled like ass like underground music truth corny ass person, somehow I know a little bit more about the shit than you do. I was never, honestly, potentially never gonna make this video. I was gonna keep it to myself because honestly, I don't hate Swiftologists, right? We don't hate Swiftologists.
We've watched, and we don't always agree, but we always watch, and we like to see what's going on the delusional side of YouTube.
I always get rage baited, and I get that's the point. Maybe I need to take notes. Maybe that's why I get 15 views. Maybe it's because I get rage baited and I watch the whole video, okay? Maybe it's because I pause the video. Maybe it's because I leave a comment. Maybe it's because I do too much engagement. Maybe that's the point. But you know what? I'm not doing this the honest way anymore. I feel like you've been having easy targets. I feel like these people who are coming after you are easy targets and you can shut them down. But you're gonna see what a real Zara Larsson fan looks like. I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck. Because I know Zara Larsson's your little thing. I know you pretend to hate on Zara Larsson so you get that, so you act different. Honestly, if you're that offended by Zara Larsson, you're kind of a dumbass. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is kind of a break. If like it's like the what like where you break the glass. If there's a anyways, I'm gonna edit this out. This was kind of a last ditch effort to get some engagement going. Swiftologist was not the one that I was gonna do this to. But he dropped this fucking fire video. These 7 levels of
pop girl.
Yes, he dropped this video. The seven levels of pop girl. We've previewed it.
We watched up until the first 4 levels here, and honestly,
we got some dumbass opinions going.
You know, as someone who's been watching for probably multiple years at this point, I would say I've been watching for multiple years. This video was kind of the one that made me the most mad because I feel like there's so much inequality with each person and each level. It's not
just that there's inequality. It's just that there's a lot of logic going on that doesn't make any sense. At a certain point, it's either rage baiting or it's you want to piss off Zara Larsson fans for some reason. It seems like you're more of a fan of her than the fans of Zara Larsson are at this point.
Some Taylor Swift logic here.
This is some Taylor Swift logic here. I don't want to prolong this intro. Obviously I don't hate Swiftologists.
We don't hate Swiftologists. We want to talk about this video.
And honestly, I only hate him sometimes. I hate him when he's a dumbass on purpose. You know what I mean? And I get that's what makes the money sometimes. I get that's what gets the views. I get that's what gets the engagement. And maybe you could even say you need to take a note out of Swiftologist's book. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Listen, if I'm going to do gimmicks to get engagements, if I'm going to indulge in gimmicks and antics to get engagement, then I'm doing it the hard way. I'm catching a whole Swiftologist shiny body. That is what it is. To my 65 loyal subscribers in the comments, you gotta back me up. This is a war. Back me up, guys. All right? It's either the beginning or the end. But you know why we're doing this? Beyond everything. And I feel like you guys can back me up on this. We're doing this for Ethel Kane. So if I'm speaking out of turn, just know it's in the name of Ethel Kane.
Yeah, don't
talk to Ethel Kane about it. All will be clear soon.
We begin this with Swiftologist describing the first level, which is the lowest level of being a pop girl. And he describes this level as someone who has never been able to capture the zeitgeist. Maybe they've had a hit song, possibly. More likely they haven't, and they've just never been able to be relevant or basically maintain any kind of public image. I feel like there's a lot of easily agreeable people he could have put here. Like, no shade, I'm not going to say any names because I'm not trying to catch a YouTube body right now. I will say his picks are very, very wrong. The first target on this list is Meghan Trainor. Okay, I would love if one person who didn't know who Meghan Trainor was, I want you to comment because I'm trying to see something here. Who doesn't know who Meghan Trainor is? She is one of the most like famous, whether you like her music or not, I'm not asking you, because that is completely independent of what the conversation is. We're talking about the levels of popularity in the pop girls. Who captures the popular, like what's popular and mainstream, and who doesn't. Whether you like it or not, she has some huge hit songs that were everywhere in the 2010s. You know I'm all about that babe. Dear Future Husband, Let's Marvin Gaye, Get It On. Like I can pull multiple songs, whether you like it or not. And I don't listen to her music, okay? I don't even want to talk about the quality because that's not what we're here to talk about.
I like what you're saying, and I agree with all of it, but I kind of want to make this stupid. So he says level 1 is Meghan Trainor, who is a recognizable name who has been in the music industry since I was in grade school. Meghan Trainor has been around since I was literally a baby, and people still know who she is. Like, if you went up to someone on the street, if you went up to my mom and said, do you know who Meghan Trainor is? She would say yes. He pairs Meghan Trainor with Madison Beer. Who the fuck is Madison Beer? They are not on the same level. If we want to talk about quality, like maybe we could have that conversation, but that is not rhetoric that is going into this ranking.
He says at the very beginning of this video, and I 100% agree, that quality is subjective. Like there's no way that we could make an equation that's just going to solve who our top pop girls are and who our bottom ones are. But I think this is a horrible start to this comparison. Do I know who Madison Beer is? Yes, I do. I know one of her songs that I used to listen to when I was in middle school, and that's all I've ever seen from her. I have no ill feelings about Madison Beer, so this is not a personal attack on Madison Beer. This is just a matter of Meghan Trainor has been around for a very long time and has been making huge hits.
Meghan Trainor has recognizable music that people would recognize, and maybe that's just a product of the era of when the radio existed. So maybe it was slightly kind of shoved down our throats a little bit, but that doesn't take away that people actually know what it is. Madison Beer. If you're telling me that Madison Beer and Meghan Trainor are on the same level, just ask your parents who Madison Beer is. I don't think they'll know who that is. I do want to get into this video, so maybe we should just hit the play button. Ultimately, that is one of the bigger issues throughout this list is we're like, what are these pairings? How do these make any sense? And the thing is, I wouldn't get this pissed about it, but this is literally your job.
I can forgive someone who's like maybe like a little wrong about what I think that these like lists should be, because obviously no one's gonna make a list that I 100% agree with, but it's more so that the way he describes some of these things are like straight up just so out of touch with what is actually true. Because he starts by saying level 1 is someone who may or may not have had like a huge hit single. Like they're maybe relevant, but like Meghan Trainor has had multiple huge hits. Yeah. And I'm not saying that she ever escaped that era or that like type of music, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like level of being a pop star. And the truth is,
how iconic it is.
And the truth is, I honestly would be willing to bet that Meghan Trainor's album in 2024, which I listened to, feelings about it aside, I did see people talk about it. Not obviously like they loved it, but I saw people talk about it. And there are people on here who I haven't heard brought up since I was in middle school. Meghan Trainor is, I see stuff about her. I still see videos about her on Instagram and on YouTube. She's not irrelevant completely. If you think so, that's just, I mean, that's your opinion, but I just don't agree with that based off of literally every piece of evidence that we have about Meghan Trainor. Madison Beer, on the other hand, maybe famous amongst like high schoolers and middle schoolers now. I've never seen that evolution for her. I've never seen an era. I've never seen a defined sense of who Madison Beer is as an artist. And so for that reason, this level 1 is a rough start of the video.
Because I feel like it's unfair that we're putting the words in Swiftologist's mouth right now. So maybe we should just let him talk. I feel like this is unfair. I feel like we're dogpiling on my boy, bro. And you know what? I'm doing this for Ethel Kane, so fuck you guys.
I saw a video called The 7 Levels of Rappers, and it made me realize that we need the pop girl version. So here it is. We talk about pop girls as though they're...
Okay, right off the bat, bro. There, you can look up 7 levels of pop. It's on the internet. Like it's been around for months. Like you didn't come up with this idea, bro. You didn't come up with this idea.
Fine.
That's fine, but the phrasing is crazy. The phrasing is crazy. Fine. I could have let it go. Again, I could have let this slide. I don't give a fuck.
We'll forgive it.
Yeah, we'll forgive it. Yeah, I could have let this slide. You know what? Forget about it. This one's on me. This one's on me, Zach. I'm going demon mode on you, though, bro. I'm going demon mode on you.
Pop, after all, is not a morality play. It's not a meritocracy, and it is certainly not a neutral reflection of talent. Pop is a system, a conversion system, and it has pretty much always been brutally consistent about what it rewards and what it discards. It doesn't really matter.
So there we go. We get confirmation that it's not about equality. It's not about any of that, which is a totally fine analysis to make. Yeah, that's totally fine analysis to make. To be honest, I agree, but that's just confirming that this is not about quality.
Yeah,
this is not about quality.
So if you think Meghan Trainor is level 1 on quality, that is fine. I'm not gonna.
I would agree. I would co-sign.
I don't care what your opinions are on this. This is all good. You can put your girls wherever you want because we all have different opinions. But we are talking about reach and we are talking about notoriety. Yes. And well, let's just see what he has to say. Let's just let him talk. We're about fame, notoriety, and reach. So let's get into it. Keeping that in mind.
Does their visibility translate into hits? Do those hits comprise eras? Do those eras leave something durable behind on the culture? Sometimes the system aligns with the talent, and at the highest levels of pop.
So it has to be something that's left behind. It has to be something that you're still gonna remember. Okay, I feel like that's important. It's not a matter of is this still gonna be cool and trendy in years from now, because that is never how it works. Nothing is ever like, it's really rare that something stays fresh and trendy years later. So let's just throw that idea out the window and let's just focus on the fact that it has to be well defined, very focused. We get the idea, we get the visuals, we have songs from it, we can easily pick it out and point it out. So let's just keep that in mind.
Yes, we got to follow his rules, because I don't want to critique him on rules that he didn't set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's critique him on the rules that he put out. So
yes,
we
yes. I'm not making this up. I watched the first part of this video and then had an aneurysm. So
because mid can't capture attention for multiple eras in a row, but sustained relevance requires gravity and talent.
Also, the mid can't capture attention for multiple eras in a row is mad debatable, bro.
I actually really disagree because I can think of a few artists who have had mid albums continuously and been able to.
It's a mad debatable.
Because again, that now we're talking about subjectivity. Before we were talking about something you can actually look at, like streams or how many tickets they sell in a year. Those are things that we can actually look at. These are tangible pieces of evidence. I'm going to disregard that because that is completely like the mid thing. That is purely subjective.
What actually separates pop girls from main pop girls is resilience. The ability to survive periods of change, your own eras, everyone else's eras, the genre shifting priorities. Being able to weather being disliked, misunderstood, or temporarily out of fashion is a huge form of leverage.
Maybe that does address what we were just saying, where it's like maybe their ability to weather is also.
Yeah, that's important, I think, because some artists do come back after.
But that's a whole different idea than multiple mid eras is fine. Yeah. Because there's a lot of artists that do have multiple mid eras that you could put in the S or whatever you call it, the 6, the 7.
Yeah, like if just think of an artist that you would probably put in S, I would put Mariah Carey maybe in S because she's super relevant all the time and people always talk about her.
She has the biggest Billboard
yeah, and do I know like more than probably 2 of her albums like off the top of my head? No.
Are her eras kind of mid?
Maybe. I don't know them, so I'm not going to speak on that. But what I am going to say is you don't necessarily need to know the music to understand how big someone's impact is. I think that's important because I know he doesn't have this is me assuming he doesn't know every single artist on here, all their career, like all their albums, all their singles and all that stuff.
I think later in this video, it does become apparent that he does not know a single thing about some of these artists he talks about. And it just so happens that they're artists that I actually do know about. So I can call his bluff on it a little bit.
In our increasingly now-focused culture, we overinflate everyone's significance. The iconic debut, a few hit singles, viral moments galore. But pop careers must extend beyond the moment of arrival. True legacies are built in what happens after your first jackpot, after you've been pushed by the industry and they've decided to give you a try. I'm always thinking about what pop girl belongs where. Is this person on the same level as that? They came up at the same time, so why have their fates differed so greatly?
I want us to note this too, that it is important to consider longevity over the initial kind of spark. Longevity is important, okay? Remember, guys, longevity is very important.
We'll be forgiving about that for sure. I think there'll be some times here where I could be forgiving.
I just want people to remember that.
He also did just say, though, that he was considering, do these artists belong in the same category? And that,
Just remember, guys, longevity is important to consider. Remember that. I didn't make this up in the video, okay? Okay.
I also want to acknowledge up top that not every pop girl's goal should be to become a main pop girl. As you'll see when we progress through the levels, it's virtually impossible to achieve. There are also incredible careers made in pop that do not aspire towards the very apex of a pop girl experience. And I think that we, the audience, would have a lot more fun analyzing and debating pop music if we accepted that not everyone is the biggest star in the world and doesn't have to be.
That's a good point, but to be honest, I feel like that means we're judging everyone on different criteria. So kind of, what's the point of making this? If there are people that aren't aspiring to the same goals, then why would you make this? It doesn't really make any sense. You can't really judge people on a criteria that's completely different from case case by case, and that becomes extremely apparent as the list goes on, I feel like, in my opinion.
Well, let's just think about an artist like Taylor Swift, who wants to be the best.
The biggest. Who wants to be the biggest?
Wants to be the biggest fish in the pond. By that standard, a lot of these girls would be level 1 because she really, really cares about being number 1 and about being that biggest artist out there. And so a lot of these girls not even make it past level 2 because of how big she is. Her like level is so insane and incomprehensible. So that's like a completely different level than if you think about an artist maybe like Charli XCX, who is super huge.
Sorry, but you're right. Charli XCX's goal was, in my opinion, never to be the biggest pop girl in the pond, and her music reflects that. I think her career trajectory has shifted multiple times, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, what's Crash then if she's not trying to make a run for the mainstream? Maybe that you could argue that is a moment where that was one of her goals. If you have heard any other album other than Crash and Brad, you would know that her career before that point was way more about pushing boundaries, re-establishing what a modern pop music can and could sound like. The goalpost has shifted numerous times throughout her career. And so, yes, could you argue her album from like 2022 is maybe trying to do that? Yes. That being said, has that been a consistent goal throughout her career? No. All this to say, this is fundamentally already kind of flawed because everyone is doing something different. This is a case-by-case basis.
He said they're on different trajectories.
Which he said, but the issue is, what's the point?
Then, well, what's the standard?
And who are we including? Maybe we should just include people who have a similar goal in mind, so we don't accidentally shit on artists who are pushing boundaries
before focusing on their fame.
Yes.
Love Sabrina, but I think she's okay to be on that Taylor Swift trajectory. Yeah, I think that's
really
fair to compare.
boundaries.
Britney Spears would be, I mean, I think she's excellent, and I think she's fine to put on that level too. But when we're talking about artists like Ethel Cain, I don't think wants to be Taylor Swift, and I don't think she wants anything to do with Taylor Swift based off the videos I've seen her talking about Taylor Swift. Why are we including people who are not even on this mission with her? What's the point? Like you said, what's the point?
And it kind of makes a path for what happens where
We have some collateral damage.
we just shit on people that we don't know anything about. Collateral damage.
We have a lot of collateral damage on here.
You're not locked into level 1, 2, or 3 forever. There is definitely mobility on this ladder, and we've got some perfect examples of that in the case studies. If you also like to think about pop in a fun but seriously analytical way, subscribe to my channel. My name is Zach. I'm a Swiftologist, and I do this every week.
More like seriously in a shitical. Oh, look, we're like merging together.
Could have workshopped.
Do you see that? Do you see
I don't
that?
like that. Can you stop that? No one wants to see. That's when we lose viewers. Is when you do that.
So we have to start at the bottom because this is where most pop careers collapse. A flop is not an artist who never got a chance to me. A flop is an artist who had a chance and failed to turn that chance into anything lasting. Industry resources were deployed, money was spent, and narrative was written, but when the moment passed, nothing remained. The internet loves.
Okay.
Heard. Let's keep going. Heard.
Nothing remained.
Heard.
Nothing remained.
Heard.
We're very good at retroactively framing careers as cut short or mishandled when, in fact, what happened is much simpler. The system tried and it didn't work, or the pop star failed to adapt, or the market just didn't care. Level 1 is the
Okay, so it didn't
Heard.
work.
Heard.
Didn't work.
Okay, heard.
Didn't work.
Heard.
These are artists who received label investment, playlist placement, press attention, branding attempts, sometimes repeatedly, and still failed to produce a signature hit, a defining era, or a stable audience that could survive beyond the initial push or one hit single. Not once, but across multiple cycles. We have Rita Ora, Ava Max, BB Rexa, Normani. The tell is almost always the same.
Okay. For me, I would put BB Rexa in this category.
My issue is that I literally don't know like anything about these artists,
Yeah.
and that makes me think.
To be honest with you, this lineup is not bad for this.
No,
I think BB Rexa is especially a great example because every time she has, like, if you think of like the Blue remix song, every time she has like some kind of emergence, it's literally the most derivative thing like ever. I think that BB Rexa is a perfect example of this. Honestly, this lineup I really don't have a problem with.
Maybe you can name a song, but like, but really, who are these artists? Do we know?
But spoiler alert, this goes in a different direction. We already talked about it, so we don't have to
And also-
relitigate this whole like deal. But let's just keep it pushing.
But they have no cultural footprint. There was no moment when the conversation of music reorganized around them. The attention they briefly held wasn't that much to begin with, and it's certainly never calcified into anything lasting. Level 1 flops are often surrounded by the language of potential. Their fans, who are few in numbers, speak in hypothetical. What should have happened? What could have happened? What would have happened if the rollout had been different, if the timing had been better, if the industry had been kinder? Or it's not happening. Another defining feature of a level 1 is repetition. These artists don't just miss once, they miss consistently. Each new project or single arrives with low expectations, lower stakes, and diminishing urgency.
So heard.
Can I say he did kind of change the goalpost a little bit because he said they could have some hit singles, but before he said like they don't really have a hit single. So I feel like he changed the goalpost a little bit because I think he's trying to push. He's trying to bring in this new era of the level 1s, and it's like I think you should have stuck with what you had because that was okay.
Or he's trying to be like, oh well, now we have room for Meghan Trainor. I'll just say it because we already talked about it. Now we can bring Meghan Trainor into the mix, and people can't argue.
Importantly, level 1 is not really about taste. You can love these artists, you can think the music is good, but none of that changes the outcome or their fate. Consensus amongst the listeners doesn't really matter at this point. Whether the system wants to keep betting on you decides if you're going to stay in level 1 or progress up the ladder. I think this is also why level 1 is not necessarily an early career career designation for artists that haven't taken off. These artists aren't still figuring it out. Their moment already came and perhaps went. The window is closed, the conclusion has been reached. That's the general shape of a level 1 career. But it's worth zooming in on 2 specific cases because they show how failure can look very different yet still land in the same place. Meghan Trainor.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, about that.
And
So-
pulls out a huge hit song.
Yeah, and pulls out a song that literally the majority of people know, at least in the United States.
There's a strange choice here. All About That Bass was a massive hit and it did spark a cultural discourse.
Okay.
I'm bringing booty back.
Okay.
Yay. This song was everywhere. A debut single that immediately rocketed her to playing festival stages, finding a debut album with multiple singles. Surely it was only up from here. No, what follows exposes the limits of one giant hit. The concept of the hit worked, and then it stalled. Meghan Trainor's momentum was never transferable. It was tightly bound to a single aesthetic from one moment and a very specific rhetorical posture. Every subsequent era either tried to recreate that moment or awkwardly pivot away from it, and in doing so, revealed her core problem. The system had rewarded a song, not a pop girl with an expandable.
Finding it by every era either was like this or not like this.
Might I add, as a Swiftologist, I know he knows this, so I'm not saying this to patronize him. I'm saying this because I feel like he should have brought this up. That All About That Bass was competing with Shake It Off for a #1 position on the Billboard charts. Okay, your fave was competing with this girl. I get you're trying to say that she hasn't maintained anything from that cultural relevance. The truth is, All About That Bass is only one of many hit singles that Meghan Trainor has. Love it or hate it.
Will care even less now about her musical career because she's gone on Ozempic. We don't know or care about Meghan Trainor when she's not all about that bass. Meghan Trainor continued to receive opportunities after All About.
So unfortunately, this just sprung into my mind. I could have my Gucci on or whatever the
I
fuck.
could have my Gucci on.
Again, am I saying it's good? No, but when was that a trend?
And the mansplaining song, like I knew that. I knew every single song he brought up. And there's more that he could have named.
That shit was like a TikTok song 10 years after All About That Bass dropped.
Like, let's just not pretend that everyone forgot who she was 10 days after that single came out, because that is not true.
And I hate being out here defending Meghan Trainor for some reason,
I will
but
if it's false. I will if it's a lie.
and the thing is, I could co-sign you putting her here, but who is above her and who is with her in this tier? That is the main issue.
Like, if we're talking about quality and you put her here, that's your own business. But these girls are not on the same level as her, because they might have had 1 hit song, 2 hit song, if that. And I still wouldn't know. Like, I wouldn't know that they were on those songs. I knew who was singing the song. I knew
Spoiler alert, Madison Beer is coming next. Madison Beer is not on the same level of Meghan Trainor, which I know is a crazy sentence to be like, she's not on the level of Meghan Trainor. Madison Beer is just not, though. Like, you can't stop playing with me, fucking Zach, bro.
Like-
Stop playing with me, bro.
This isn't TikTok. This is reality, okay? This isn't TikTok.
This isn't Stan Wars, bro. This is...
We're trying to be objective. We're not trying to have a Stan war. We're
I'm
trying
having
to
a
be
serious
honest.
conversation. Me and Zach are having a serious conversation right now. Like, this is stupid as hell.
Tension never stuck, it plateaued and then completely thinned out. The system eventually has stopped escalating her. She's filming music videos of the Grove now. This is what a level 1 dead end looks like. Meghan Trainor isn't a flop because she failed to
Lord
succeed. She's a
did
flop
this,
because her
like,
success
literally
wasn't
this
scalable.
year.
Pop stardom doesn't
Yeah,
take
Lord
care
copied
last.
her,
Now,
bro.
let's compare that
Lord
to
copied.
Madison Beer doesn't make Madison Beer has spent nearly a decade in a state of persistent semi-visibility. She's had 27 singles and has only just charted a single in the low 90s of the Hot 100. She's consistently had major label backing, high-budget visuals, playlist placement, magazine profiles. She is the aesthetic ideal for so many young girls on TikTok. But isolated attention is not leverage. Despite years of sustained exposure, Madison Beer has never converted her visibility into a signature hit.
If she's never had a song that couldn't get above 90th position on the charts, that's fair, because you have to be known to be like the it pop girl. And if you're like a flop, as he is saying, not what I'm saying, if she's a flop by these standards, I guess I could agree. Is Meghan Trainor the same? Has she only had songs be
Yeah,
like,
let's
in the
take
90s?
that thing he said. She's been in stagnation for almost a decade. A decade ago, Meghan Trainor had a hit song. I don't think Madison Beer did.
She had multiple hit songs.
Basically, what he's what he's trying to lay out for me here, and I don't know the lore on Madison Beer. What he's trying to lay out for me here is that they have, in the last decade, so from now to like I guess 2015, Meghan Trainor has had hit songs and established a career and low-key kind of become a household name, whereas Madison Beer has been in stagnation that entire time. And I'm not saying that Madison Beer has had a decade-long career, but he did. Been trying to make it work for Madison for a decade. I didn't say that. He said that. I don't know. I think Madison Beer is a little younger than that, honestly. I think it might be a little hyperbolic. I'm going off this video, okay? And by that logic, this makes no damn sense. Swiftologist, you are fucking up so bad because I should never be going this hard for fucking Meghan Trainor. Why am I going this hard for Meghan Trainor? I kind of want to shut the video off, but like, it is
True.
It's true.
We have to. This is the truth. That's the thing. Is we are just saying the truth, and we are just trying to make sense of how you linked these two.
I'm untangling the web here.
I want to know, and especially because what we have coming next, I still think Meghan Trainor is bigger than some of the artists he's gonna bring up.
Level 2 is the Kia Asylum Escapees.
If I was making this is neither here nor there, but if I was making this, I think level 2 is still the key asylum, honestly.
We have 7 levels.
Yeah,
like I
we
feel
have
like
7
I feel like at least 2 of those should be pretty like unknown. One of them's like really nobody. 2 should be like wants so badly to be there but isn't, and then 3 is like now we're getting a little somewhere, and then there's such a huge range of Taylor Swift to BB Rexa.
Madison Beer, or even BB Rexa. Yeah,
I feel like we're already making way too big of a jump. But you know what? This is his video, so let's just let him talk.
Totally. That was neither here nor there. So
These are artists who have cracked the mainstream a little bit more than a level 1 flop, often in a very real and visible way. There is proof of concept, a hit, maybe 2 hits.
Can I just say, he also said they maybe have 1 or 2 hit singles. We already had people who have had huge hit singles in the last section. So what are we talking about? And also,
and honestly, even BB Rexa has. BB Rexa has.
And also, let's just be really clear. I think this is super important because he made it one of his defining features of this level is that could be convinced that the system is working against you. And for some of the people he's about to say, my eyebrows are raised. I'm puzzled by what he means by that. I think he shouldn't have included that because I think it has some weird implications for some of the artsy names. And I know he doesn't care about like being the perfect, like, I get that it's not like this is not me trying to say he needs to be like nice to all these girls. But for some of it, it's just like, really, like, what were you trying to say?
But Zach also does really credit himself as kind of a journalist and kind of hates on a lot of people who do get these big interviews and do these journalistic pieces and spreads. He does kind of hold himself as a little bit of a journalist, so I would like him to maybe conduct his analysis as such.
That's a fair ask.
I think that's a fair
If
ask.
you think you're a journalist, well then
act like it.
Then like
I'm not a journalist. I'll say that. I'm not a journalist.
This is just us talking about music. And
I'm barely a YouTuber.
At this point, it's for fun.
We are failed YouTubers.
So
if he does bring it up, if he flames us,
We'll
I'll
make a
take it.
video with
I'll
that.
take
We'll
it.
make a
I'll
video
take
with
it. I do want to draw special attention to his reasoning here
That's important.
because it pisses me off.
The failure that follows doesn't feel neutral or procedural to the artist. It feels personal. Many of you will hate to hear it, but this is where artists like Zara Larsson, Jessie J, Kim Petras, Marina, and Lizzo live.
Guys, Lizzo is not in the Kia Asylum.
Lizzo has Grammys.
Lizzo like kind of ran a year.
She ran 2019? I swear it was like 2019, 2018. We had It Ain't My Fault, Daniel. Like we had Juice, we had It's About Damn Time. In a minute, what are you talking about? Lizzo is not like this unknown Kia. Lizzo is not a Kia, and I'll be the first one to say it. And you know what? I'm not even like that for like trying to be like Lizzo's not a Kia.
We're not like stands of like Lizzo and
Meghan Trainor. But this is wrong. Lizzo's not a Kia. Lizzo has a huge album that people actually liked.
And
was
Lizzo, like,
pretty
I don't know the way he's trying to phrase it because he's saying like she's barely out of the Kia Asylum. No, my mom, honestly, probably my grandpa.
Your grandparents will know who Lizzo is. She was a really big deal when she was first getting traction. Like, it was everywhere. Like, see interviews with her all the time, like talking about like the industry, and maybe that's what he's referring to, that Lizzo blames the industry for her failure or for not being a larger artist. That I say Lizzo's really well known. Like, let's just not be acting like she's a
Lizzo
Kia.
isn't active, and she went through a huge controversy and all this stuff. So that's me.
To overcome. Let's just say that.
So, and I don't know what happened with that. Like, I don't know if Lizzo's a terrible person or if she's not, but I think Lizzo is maybe a little detached at this point.
But that's also not what we're talking about. No. Like, we don't even have to talk about her morals.
No one could be this low that dominated the musical zeitgeist for as hard as she did.
Like, she was the blueprint for a while. No, we're not trying to say that it's just like 1 year or 2 years, whatever. But she was a blueprint that had a big impact on the music industry. Tier 2 feels really disrespectful to Lizzo, and I'm not even like that about Lizzo. So I feel like maybe I'm just getting too hot and bothered about all these opinions, but I just don't get what the logic is. She's on the same level as Zara Larsson?
Lizzo and Zara Larsson are on the same level? Lizzo and Zara Larsson. Ask anyone who Zara Larsson is. And the thing is, I think Swiftologist is trying to make his new quirk hating Zara Larsson, so I'm not trying to be like...
It's like his Ed Sheeran thing.
But Ed Sheeran makes more sense because Ed Sheeran is a way bigger artist and also responded to Swiftologist. It makes way more sense to go after Ed Sheeran, but I get that people get all heated at you and you love like, oh my god, everyone's so mad at me because I'm so different and I hate Zara Larsson. I don't know, like I know it's bringing you a lot of engagement, but this whole tier, spoiler alert, seems like just an excuse to shit on Zara Larsson, which is so petty. Oh my god, I'm gonna piss so many people off with this Zara Larsson opinion. Chill. Like, bro, Zara, if you're that pissed about Zara Larsson, you're kind of cooked. Like, I'm sorry, you're kind of cooked if you're that pissed about Zara Larsson. But you'll gobble up the Tate McRae, but you're pissed about the Zara Larsson. It's kind of the same thing, bro. It's kind of the same thing, but one is a little better than the other. I'm not gonna lie. Like, one is a little better than the other. I'm not saying that Zara Larsson versus Tate McRae is the most serious thing in the world, but if you're gobbling up Tate McRae and you hate Zara Larsson, you gotta kind of look in the mirror and be like, what am I doing here? And that's true for, I feel like, a lot of the points made in this video. So I'm glad I'm getting this off my chest. It feels good.
Well, let's just say at the end of the day,
Lizzo has not just escaped the Kia asylum.
And honestly, I know I just said I'm not like that about Lizzo, but I will say I think Lizzo does have good work. It's not just that I think that, it's that people agree with that, and she's a very well-known artist. To me, this makes zero sense. It's not even like on the same level as Meghan Trainor, where I get that he was just trying to shade her. This one's just kind of like, what are you doing?
Or maybe if he wasn't trying to shade her, he was just trying to be like, she's kind of bottom of the barrel, which I would agree with. In terms of quality, she's bottom of the barrel. In terms of her legacy, unfortunately, she's not. She's just not. She's not Madison Beer level, at least. She's not even Zara Larsson level. I think Lizzo's over her, obviously. I could definitely see that. I think that there's a great argument to be made for that. She's not sub Zara Larsson in terms of relevance.
Meghan Trainor would live here if I believed she had any recoverable momentum left. Level 2 artists technically still.
So they're closer to flop than any other tier on the level. Okay, great.
The defining feature of level 2 is not that the artist stops being talented or even visible, it's that the artist begins to behave as though their earlier success permanently altered their position in the hierarchy, that the audition is over, they've passed some sort of test, and pop stardom is a given or something that they're owed. But again, pop is a cruel mistress, there is no tenure system, it does not honor prior achievement, doesn't care that you once had a hit, every era is a renegotiation, and level 2 artists really struggle deeply with that fact. They don't recalibrate well, either they double down, or they chase an old formula, or reject it too much entirely, and assume the audience will just follow them out of loyalty, but they're not big enough to command that attention. They misread waning interest as audience misunderstanding, and they interpret indifference as hostility towards them. Slowly, they lose momentum. And I think this is where psychology matters, because level 1 flops, I think, just tend to internalize their failure, accept it, and continue on in their flopdom. But I think that level 2 artists sometimes externalize it. Their narrative shifts away from, why isn't this working, to why won't anyone let this work? The industry is the villain, and the audience is fickle, the critics are haters.
People on this level, they externalize their failure in ways that manifest as audiences are fickle, critics and people are haters, the industry is cruel. They don't take into account that maybe they're the problem. Because of that, they externalize it. Their prevailing narrative in their music is that people are haters. Who does that sound like? That sounds more closer to people who are in the higher tiers, I feel like, in my opinion. I'm not even trying to shade them. I'm not even trying to say that is it is kind of a stupid narrative, but I'm not trying to say anything about quality or anything like that. But I feel like that pops up a lot more in someone else's music than some of the people that he's about to put in this tier and project this narrative onto. Let's take a look.
This is the escaping the Kia Asylum fantasy. Let's talk about 2 level 2 artists. Number 1, Lizzo, a fixed Kia Asylum escapee. Lizzo is the cleanest example of a level 2 artist whose position is pretty much set in stone. She identified a formula that worked: body positivity anthem, self-affirmation as spectacle, pop funk maximalism. This arrived at exactly the right time in the culture, and Lizzo felt like a very positive and necessary force in music. But instead of evolving her authority, she kind of froze in time. When the audience entrance began to go in a different direction, Lizzo perceived the flagging interest as a betrayal rather than a reflection of the quality of her output. Every subsequent dip in enthusiasm was someone else's fault: the industry, the audience, the culture, the discourse. She's spoken at length about her struggles being a small, vague artist with a record label on TikTok, genuinely compelling insights. But this outlook is kind of a key defining feature of a level 2 pop girl. Lizzo still has name recognition, she still has resources, some, but she no longer has momentum, and worse, she's positioned herself adjacent to renegotiation. She argues with the system, which doesn't know how to respond to her.
I would also, I'm sorry, this is too on my heart. I have to say this because I feel like if I don't, I'm not doing justice by my truth here. And that is, I think it's unfair of him to be like, she's just whining about why she doesn't have success. When I think the Lizzo phenomenon is a real thing that happens to a lot of talented artists for no reason. This idea that they were really big and they had a lot of push, and then all of a sudden after they got that Grammy, nothing. They just kind of fall off. We've seen kind of something like that with Lizzo. We've seen sort of that same effect with Doja Cat. We've seen that possibly with Doechii. I'm not saying it's for sure, but I'm saying oftentimes when you have a successful black woman rise up out of nowhere, it seems like we all like to dogpile on them the second that moment is over. Everyone turns on them and we bring out our pitchforks. So I do not like that insinuation, and I'm not even trying to say that I'm not saying he's racist, and I'm not saying this is not like a moral fight, okay? So let me clarify, this is not me saying he's racist. I'm just saying it's really not, I just don't think it's a fair analysis to say that she's whining on the internet and like crying about it when that is a noted, like, in my opinion,
especially
I think you see
you admit that the industry is cruel
yeah,
to artists.
Yeah, and you can admit it about Taylor Swift, who's the biggest artist of all time. But with someone like Lizzo, who faced a lot of backlash because of her size, and someone like Doja Cat, who gets backlash for who knows what. Oh, for her fan interactions, which who cares? Who cares? She makes jokes with her fans and everyone gets upset. And then also someone like Doechii, who is in heated water because of having a song that people don't like, Anxiety. And so it's just like, when things like this happen, is it fair to say that it's just them whining and crying about it, or is maybe there's something else at play here? I just think that some of these other girls who have had quick rises to fame and don't seem to fall off as hard, there might be a pattern to that. I just think that's worth noting. For a good analysis, I think he could have brought up that artists like Lizzo and their gender and race have seen similar things happen to them, and it's not really fair to say that's just whining, because it's real.
In my view, this is a fixed key at silent escape key because someone who has identified a narrow lane and exhausted it and who treats the audience's boredom as a moral failing rather than a creative signal is not going to be able to meaningfully reiterate and level up. Now we have Zara Larsson, who is the cusp Kia case. Zara Larsson is more interesting and more fluid. She is a textbook Kia silent escape key, undeniable early hits that were quite generic and anonymous, so she didn't really build a solid creative identity. She had a clear brush with mainstream pop authority and spent years trying to reclaim that position without successfully reaching it. The system tried multiple times to help her do this, and when the attention didn't really convert into durable leverage, she stalled.
I'm not going to give you the reaction you want for this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it to you. I know why you did this, and I'm not going to give it to you. The only thing that I'm going to add to this is that comparing her to Lizzo is fucking stupid.
Insane. I'm sorry, and this is not me shading her. I did not know Zara Larsson's name until 2025. I could have identified Symphony for sure, but Lizzo, my mom, dad, and grandparents know who Lizzo is. How are they on the same level?
Oh,
That's not my job. I didn't make this video, so I don't have to explain it. Yeah. I'm just asking. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, totally.
I feel crazy.
Many people are pointing to Midnight Sun as a possible turning point. And to be fair, there is something there. Renewed interest, organic conversation, a flicker of relevance that feels less forced than past attempts. A moment can be a comeback until it extends beyond a flash in the pan. Zara is hovering at the edge of level 3, specifically 3D, but she hasn't crossed it yet. And until she does, I remain skeptical. Level 2 is kind of a dangerous place to be because these are artists who think they can escape their decline through sheer force of will. They assume the public has an infinite attention budget to spend on them, despite competing in a brutally saturated ecosystem. And this is why level 2 careers look chaotic. The gag about being a level 2 artist is that it's a likely fate for some of the people I'll talk about and placed higher on the ladder today. Some artists are more like pop sparks than pop stars. They'll burn bright for a while and then they can regress down to the Kia asylum.
Beginning of this video, Zach discussed that this is about the longevity. Longevity is definitely being considered when talking about all these different people. And so why are we placing the sparks higher? Like, why are we assessing them? Again, I know it's a tricky balance. It kind of leaves me saying, what's the point? And also, what is the criteria? It becomes less and less defined, I feel like, as we go on in this video. And I get this is for fun. I know I'm shitting on shit that he's doing for fun. You are the pop girl guy. And so this rhetoric just kind of, you have to do better. I'm sorry, bro. You have to do a little better than this.
I feel like if he had thought about this for 20 more minutes, like, I feel like he maybe would have thought a little differently. Like, I just don't know how to explain it. It's just like, it's not that serious, no. But I just feel like since this is your whole career, I just want to understand
this is your
what
niche,
you meant
kind
by
of.
half of these things. Like, I just, we applied this psychology to Zara Larsson. What in Zara Larsson's music is about blaming her critics and her like, like, I just don't get when does that narrative come through?
Yeah, as someone who, and I don't even really want to give up this game because I feel like it's gonna be like, he just loves Zara Larsson, he's just another one of those TikTok people who just goes after Swiftologist because he loves Zara Larsson. I'm not giving you this reaction because of Zara Larsson, but as someone who has heard Midnight Sun, I haven't heard any Zara Larsson album before that. So before people are like, well, actually, according to the Zara Larsson ancient text, like, I've heard Midnight Sun. Yeah, Hot and Sexy was a song I listened to a lot. Shout out to Apple Music replay, but
yeah, watch that video maybe.
It's in one of the, I forget what corner it is. I pointed to the wrong corner last time. Midnight Sun, the album, the theme of the album was not the industry fucked me over and I hate my haters. It was more like kind of like juvenile-esque like endeavors into having a crush in sometimes being a party girl. But the hater narrative and the industry narrative does not really apply to Midnight Sun, unfortunately. You should know that because you talk about Zara Larsson a lot, especially for someone who hates Zara Larsson. You should know a little better. You should have heard all the critiques about how you talked about Zara Larsson and taken them to heart instead of being a shitter and talking about Zara Larsson again. Also, Swiftologist, Hot and Sexy is about getting so shut the fuck up. Do you hate women or something? I'm gonna beep that part. You should be ashamed of yourself, Swiftologist.
Lotto, for example, was very nearly on my list here, but she's marked safe for now.
Wait,
given the length.
Lotto? Did I mishear that? I'm just gonna pretend I misheard it.
She has a legacy beyond just a couple of good moments, and level 2 pop girls really have just a handful of hits, or at most one good era.
So if we're talking about Lotto, we could talk about Megan, we could talk about Ice Spice.
Megan definitely also fits into the Lizzo, like Doja Cat, Doechii, like kind of thing where it's like we see people mysteriously stop getting mentioned, or people all of a sudden just, oh, we actually don't like that artist.
But I didn't know we were having that conversation.
But I didn't know we were. I thought we were just talking about pop, the genre. Because Nicki Minaj is obviously a pop girl.
Probation period. period. Level 3A artists are being actively tested by the pop system. They have visibility, they have infrastructure, they have cosigns, press, playlist placement, late night performances, and festival slots. What they do not yet have is proof of their durability. These are artists that the industry is watching closely to assess their return on investment. The defining question of level 3A is simple: will this moment that they're having evaporate? Artists like Tate McRae, Gracie Abrams, Renee Rapp, who I personally think is a level 2 or a 3B at best, Addison Rae, Lola Young, and Olivia Dean all technically live here. What unites them clearly isn't genre or sound, it's the conditions of their place in the culture and the industry. They are being given chances in public, their releases are framed as moments, and their careers are treated as ongoing questions.
In order to be a level 3 artist, you have to be relevant right now. Like, I don't think you can retroactively apply anyone to 3A, because he said that you have to be like getting like all this like push, and it's more like a question.
That's what makes this chart tricky, is that we have to separate these criterias by designations that don't really correlate. I get where he's going with this, but this designation really is quite frankly unfollowable. Like, to be honest with you, and I think that these placements, because we're talking about Addison Rae, Gracie Abrams,
these are all people we have no idea what their longevity is. We can't predict it. In a year they might be around.
They're getting the test run a little bit,
and that's what he's getting at. I agree with them being together. They all make sense together, because Renee Rapp is someone who I think could have a great future. Gracie Abrams has seen a lot of success, but is that going to stay? Tate McRae, same thing. They've had success, but we don't know. And so I think this is okay. But yeah, let's see what else he has to say about level 3.
Convert too fast without expansion, and you risk a premature freeze. But if you manage to stretch attention across multiple cycles, if you survive your first backlash, your first plateau, your first moment of public boredom, you can move up the ladder. Gracie Abrams and Tate McRae are probably the closest to moving up the ladder from this crop at the moment, but they haven't yet. I would say both of these divas have 2 true bona fide hits and have yet to really solidify an influence on the culture, but neither has really demonstrated the ability to sustain a conversation. One good year does not make a main pop girl. This is naturally the most dynamic and fluid rung of the ladder, because it changes year on year, and artists are moved up or down out of it very quickly. Where you might eventually see Zara Larsson graduating to is level 3.
That was all solid.
Yeah,
that made a lot of sense to me, and I agree that if Zara Larsson were to move up, she would move to 3B, not 3A, regardless of how I feel about how nonsensical that designation is.
And we haven't finished this video, so I'm kind of hoping that the later we get in the video, the more
we can agree.
Things can be agreeable. At a certain point, you have to be able to agree on who is the most famous, because everyone knows who they are. Yeah. And so these first few, I just feel like a rage bait. But yeah, that was good.
That's true.
I don't really like that there's a 3B, but I get that those are the newcomers, so I want to hear them out.
Level 3B artists arrive at us in a different way. They are artists who built real audiences before the industry fully knew what to do with them, through platforms and subcultures, scenes, or aesthetics that weren't originally designed to manufacture pop girls.
This color palette, this scared me a little bit. I thought I was going to be a little too rage baited. I know he has some Charlie opinions, such as the diss track was good. Crazy little Charlie opinion. It scared me a little bit, but don't worry, guys, he's safe.
So you're going to rage bait us even more, though, so let's just...
Yeah, he's actually going to rage bait me harder. So it's a little bit of a bait and switch scenario.
Pink Pantherist, Trouble Brown, Audrey Hobart, Tyla, Victoria Monet, and Victoria Twigs definitely.
Oh my god, you guys.
What do these people have in common?
Oh my god, you guys.
What do these things have in common? Okay, Audrey Hobart. Let me run through all these really quick. Ethel Cain.
Wait, can I be honest with you? If you said seriously that Ethel Cain is a niche artist, you would be laughed out of the fucking room. Remember that. Now take that logic and apply it to fucking Chapel Roan. Niche artist, Chapel Roan. Niche. Chapel Roan. Niche. Chapel Roan.
Pink Pony Club.
Are we being serious right now? Chapel Roan? Niche artist in training. Niche. Chapel Roan. Have you ever had a service job? Tell me how many times you have heard a Chapel Roan song.
And not the same one.
At your service job 2 summers ago. Niche. Artist. Have you heard of this new artist, Chapel Roan? She's kind of niche. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Her name is, it's Chapel Roan. I don't know if you've ever, she's kind of like, in terms of popularity, she's kind of akin to Audrey Hobart. And this is another Swiftologism that is this is kind of an extracurricular. Swiftologist hates Gracie Abrams but loves Audrey Hobart, even though they're the same fucking thing.
She writes her songs, and they write songs together,
and they sound the same.
Word salad.
It is the same thing as Gracie Abrams. And if you think that is not true, you are delusional. It's showing a little bit of bias to put Audrey Hobart.
She doesn't have a song as big as Chapel Roan or as Gracie
Guys,
Abrams.
Can you name one Audrey Hobart song? Can you name 2 of them at least? How many Chapel Roan songs can you name? I don't listen to Chapel Roan. I can almost name the whole fucking album. Are we serious right now? This is what we all came for. I'm gonna drop the bomb. Saying that Ethel Cain's in training. Ethel Cain is a generational talent. Don't talk about her like she's training. She's peak right now. She's peak, but Ethel Cain is peak, bro. Ethel Cain is peak. She's not in training. What do you know about Ethel Cain, bro? Tell me what you know about Ethel Cain right now. Tell me what you know about Ethel Cain right now. She's not in training. Ethel Cain could train your favorite, bro. Ethel Cain could train your favorite.
Audrey Hobart is the songwriter of Gracie Abrams, and for some reason she's on the same level as Gracie Abrams now.
She's on the same level as Chapel Roan.
She's on the same level as the singer of the small niche song H-O-T-T-O.
Have you ever heard this song called I think it's called Pink Pony Club? Yeah, probably gonna be the most defining songs of this decade. Have you ever heard of that one?
We even have Red Wine Supernova and The Subway and The Giver. Like, how many times do you have to name a song to everyone?
If Chapel Roan is training, she's gonna be the dictator of the world.
I understand that he might be like thinking she's not as relevant as Sabrina is right now, but Sabrina rushed to make that new album.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's better, rushing to release a mid album right away to capitalize on your success, or taking your time and maybe letting some of those streams slip, but coming back stronger instead of jumping on your success right away and just releasing kind of scraps of your previous popular work. Is that the right way to go?
I just think they're always going to be inextricably tied together, and I said this earlier.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Lady Gaga and Katy Perry, who famously kind of beefed with each other, and no one could not bring them up together. Similarly, these two rose at about the same time into the same levels. For a while, it wasn't really clear who was going to be bigger. Here we are, and it's like, yes, I know Sabrina has more monthly listeners, and I know she came back with that album quick, and Chapel's only released a couple of singles since, but I would argue, regardless of streams, so I'm going to put that aside, Good Luck Babe is better quality, in my opinion, personal opinion, but also has had more of an impact than any of the new songs from Man's Best Friend. Man Child just feels like something that could have been on Short and Sweet. I love Tears, personally, but Good Luck Babe is like a really, really good song. I just think that was really drastic for our pop year, and Man's Best Friend didn't really dry year for the mainstream pop community, and Sabrina couldn't save it. That's the truth. I think that tells me that when we're thinking about who's that pop girl, well, we don't really know that Sabrina's head and shoulders above Chapel. Let's let her release something.
I'm not someone who sits around and drinks the Chapel Roan Kool-Aid. I never was. I think if you think that anything that Sabrina Carpenter put out on that last album is anywhere near the level of Good Luck Babe, and you are a pop commentator, and it is worth it to rush out music just to fulfill the need, like even if it comes out mid, I don't even know how to say this point. All I'm trying to say is that Good Luck Babe is way better than anything Sabrina has done this entire year.
Not talking about quality, but
It made it.
Let Chapel release
The
it.
mid-pack.
Yeah,
no one's
it's just
gonna
like, just
listen
let her
to.
release.
And are people going to be listening to Man's Best Friend in 10 years? Are people going to be listening to Good Luck Babe?
Good Luck Babe is still going to be relevant, in my opinion.
If I was betting, I would definitely go one way. Anyways, this is the focal point. This is what made us make the
This
video.
is such a
so
flop.
this is the focal point.
This is such a flop, and I'm
Okay,
sorry.
this is perfect rage bait that comes right after this. So let's rewind.
They tend to be internet natives. Artists like Ethel Cain, Pink Pantherist, Chapel Roan, Audrey Hobart, Tyla, Victoria Monet, and FKA Twigs definitely live here. I would
Did you guys hear that?
Chapel Roan, Audrey Hobart, Tyla, Victoria Monet, and FKA Twigs definitely live here.
Guys, I know we maybe caught a little bit of heat from, legitimately one person, but I know we caught a little heat for the FKA Twigs trolling her for an interview. She's goofy in interviews, guys. She's goofy in interviews. You can't deny that. Ultimately, both of our hearts are with FKA Twigs.
We are never going to just sit around and, unless it's Beyonce or Lady Gaga, we're not going to glaze an artist all day, every day. And so if we made fun of FK Twigs a little bit and how she maybe conducts herself in an interview and seems a little pretentious, it's all in good fun. No hatred, because we do love her music so much. And that is why this video has to be made. FK Twigs as a pop girl in training or niche internet moment.
If you think that FK Twigs is in training, I'm going to give you a break because I know you have not listened to her music. I'm going to let it slide, but just listen to the music or look at the catalog before you talk about people. That's all that I'm saying. I'm going to restrain, but just listen to the music. And also, FK Twigs is not trying to be the biggest artist in the world. Now there's Ethel Cain.
I could see why you. I mean, I've probably called FK Twigs and Ethel Cain pop girls in the past, but this is that is not.
This is
weird.
a different conversation. This is an industry. This is an
Yeah.
industry kind of bootlicking conversation right now.
This is more,
which is
about-
fine. I love having industry bootlicking conversations, but we can't include Ethel Cain and
Seriously.
FKA Twigs
Like,
into who's gonna be the most successful, who's gonna play the game the best. Yeah, it's gonna be probably Perverts is probably playing the pop girl game the best. Oh yeah, Ambient Drone is playing the game the best.
and honestly, if we're gonna be fair to him, if he was gonna include FK Twigs and Ethel Cain, they would be level 1 because they are trying exactly this much to be like
That's
Taylor
true.
Swift
That's
and
100%
Britney Spears and any of these artists. They are trying to actually kind of move the genre that they exist in, which is not just mainstream radio pop, which I enjoy. And so that's not me saying anything against it. They would just be a level 1. So it's like, it's even crazier that he's like, 3.
Yeah. I don't want to take this as me being like a mega stan of like FK Twigs or any of these people. I'm just trying to say that if we're going to make commentary on people, I think we should listen to the music and not just assume. Because I feel like this is based on a lot of assumption. Obviously, you're not a journalist. You're not employed by a major publication. So it is not your duty to do this. But if you want to be a journalist, maybe you should act accordingly.
I just can't.
I would be less pissed about this if it didn't say niche.
Okay, we've got to move on. It's
This is
over.
the main point, though, that I want to make.
Yeah, even if you watch nothing else, this you can click off. Now.
Yeah.
Just like it.
I'm not just saying this to keep you guys engaged. There is one more major section I do want to talk about, but it does relate back to this point. So, yes, you can leave now. Goodbye, everyone. You're dismissed. All right, we're going to keep watching the video. Thank you.
And what separates level 3B from 3A is their origin, not their ambitions. These artists didn't come up through traditional pop pipelines, so they weren't introduced as the next big thing in the coordinated way of a Tate McRae or Gracie Abrams. Their audiences formed first, often online, often globally, outside the machinery of radio and legacy media, which actually gives them something a little bit more powerful, authenticity without system consensus, but it does create a little bit of a friction. The industry struggles with 3B artists because their success doesn't map cleanly onto the old metrics of success. Their fans are loud, but not always numerous, and their virality is very intense, but is it scalable? This is why so many level 3B artists feel perpetually on the cusp. The system tries to decide whether they can be expanded without dilution, and whether what makes them compelling survives translation into mass market pop. Some of them will graduate out of this
Twigs
category.
and Ethel Cain are not trying to play the game and be moved
Yeah.
up. This doesn't apply to them.
And
They're
that's
not
why
playing
on the
chess.
surface level, what he's saying obviously does make sense. All the descriptors that he applied to those people and their fan bases do make sense. But there's no systematic conversation to be had. So at the end of the day, this is kind of all just kind of null. There's no system involved in the Ethel Cain mindset. And honestly, with the FKA Twigs mindset, she's been in this game long enough. I don't think she really cares. I think she's more of an artist at this point. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't talk to FK Twigs. I don't know her. I just know her music.
Hold on, FK.
Yeah, we're
FK
calling her
Twigs.
up right now.
Yeah, she said that. She said no. She said it's a no. She's not trying to play
Okay,
this
yeah.
game.
If you want further commentary on that,
Wherever your link might be.
Pink Panthers is flirting with a jump to level 5B, and Chapel Roan is threatening a jump to level 5A. I'll explain more on this later as we climb up the ladder, but none of this is really settled yet. Level 3B artists face a different risk than level 3A artists. They're not facing irrelevance, but they are perhaps misunderstood. If they don't work with a team that understands which parts of them can change for scale and what must stay the same, they can get sent back down to a level 1 or a level 2. Many artists can actually stop climbing the ladder here. Ethel Cain, for example, is a fixed level 3B. She's a very niche engineer artist with a hardcore, albeit small, devoted fan base that very much works for her.
He also did say at the beginning of the video that no one is stuck in any level, and then just said Ethel Cain is stuck here. And so to me, that kind of maybe indicates she doesn't belong here.
in this video.
So, which is fine, because you know what? I'm trying to stick to his own limitations, and he said no fixed position. Ethel Cain's fixed here probably forever. And you know what? I would say by this standard, that's probably true. But she shouldn't be here then because she doesn't apply to the system. So get her out of here and keep Ethel Cain's name out of your mouth because you are so far out of your depth with her. You are so far out of your depth. Just stay away from Ethel Cain because I really love her. And I'm not saying I'm the king of Ethel Cain because I know there's probably 100 million people out there who are like even crazier about her than me.
But if you want to talk about her, then engage with her. That's all I'm going to say.
For real. Do some research and you would know that she should have just either not been included or you should have just not included. Actually, just don't include her. Just don't include her. Okay.
I have a fun challenge for you. What's your favorite song on Perverts? And the thing is, I'm not trying to trick you because I would like for people to listen to that album.
I actually do want to know his favorite song on Perverts.
Me too.
So.
Me too. I'm
That's
curious.
a
I'm
genuine-
curious.
That's a genuine moment.
See, that would be a moment. That's a moment.
See, again, this
a
is not
moment.
out of hate. This is out of a want for better. It's not out of hate, Swiftologist. This is out of a want for
Just
some
listen to the
better
music.
dialogue.
Diva. I just think she needs a couple more eras to really solidify her success. Chappell Roan is definitely a main pop girl in training, which is the 5A category, spoiler alert, but she just doesn't have as much tested success in the market as the other people in 5A to comfortably put her there now, but she's certainly on her way. All right, level 4, meet the supporting pop girls.
Selena is not bigger than Chappell Roan and never was.
She is probably more well known than Chappell Roan as a person.
Wait, hold up. Sorry, let me restart.
Yeah.
Musically, Selena, in any era of her career, could not hold a candle to Ethel Cain.
I agree. Wait, I can't hold the Ethel Cain. The heart's wants what it wants. You're saying that doesn't hold a candle to, or
You got me.
take 3.
To Chappell Roan's like dominance.
We were there when Selena Gomez was relevant. We were there.
Yeah, I was
We
there.
know the
I was
song.
there.
You know what? I loved her song. I love you like a love song. And you know what? I don't think Selena.
I'm not making judgments on the quality
and I know
of
you're
her
not.
music at all. Yeah.
I'm just saying when she was really trying in music and making those fun singles, I actually really respect what she did accomplish. Let's just say though that the scale of Selena Gomez as figure is ginormous. She is like the most followed person on Instagram,
Yeah.
and she's
100%,
known for a lot of things. Her makeup,
Her acting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Only Murders in the Building, and she's got her music.
She's a very multifaceted person, but putting her above Chappell Roan musically is quite frankly like, what are we doing?
I would be willing to bet that a Chappell Roan concert sells more tickets than a Selena Gomez concert when she was at her biggest.
Especially in the year of 2026. Because I feel like we're making a lot of these judgments based on the current time, which is fine. I mean, it wasn't, if I can remember, I'm going to go back and watch the video to make sure this is true, but I feel like a lot of these judgments are being made based on the current landscape today. And if we're talking about the current landscape today, Selena Gomez is not bigger than Chappell Roan. But we've only graced the surface. The surface of level 4.
But let it be known, no shade to Selena.
No, I'm not trying to say
accept
anything about
shade.
Selena. I'm not trying to say anything about her.
We don't want that on us because you know what? I think Selena gets the worst rap of like anyone for like literally the dumbest reasons of all time. Selena Gomez, I respect you a lot, and in no way would I ever say anything about your career being a flop or a hack like someone else might. That bad man.
Durability. They've had real careers, multiple hits, public recognition that extends beyond a single album cycle. They're no longer being tested because the system knows what they can do. The catch is that level 4 has a ceiling, and it's not a guaranteed position. It's also not really the top of the ladder. It's kind of barely even the halfway point. Level 4 is what happens when an artist becomes reliable but not essential. These artists are part of the pop ecosystem, but the industry doesn't coalesce around them. Think of it like best supporting actress, a real achievement, a respected one, but also a role that can maybe be recast. Level 4 artists have demonstrated staying power across the years, but what they haven't done is push pop forward or introduce a creative footprint that is undeniably theirs. They are present in pop, perhaps very talented, but they're kind of unnecessary to its advancement. This is where artists like Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, Halsey, Demi Lovato, and Camila Cabello live.
This is the money shot right here, guys. This is assessed by they could be recast. They're at a high position, but they're not even at the halfway point of relevance. They don't matter to the progression of pop music. Ultimately, I know that each of these levels is supposed to be judged individually. This format, you can't really help but assess each level based on the ones below it. What does this mean for people in level 3? Because I feel like some of the most important people to progressing pop music have been placed below all these people. That wasn't even in the cards or conversation for their placement. I hate to keep bringing them up, but Ethel Cain and FKA Twigs and even Pink Panthers are crucial to the genre evolving. Undeniable. I don't care about your opinion. That is the truth. They're boundary pushers. All of them, to different degrees, in different sectors, and with different aesthetics, and they cater to people with different tastes. But regardless, they cannot be recast. And I know we're supposed to take these all at different criteria that Swiftologist tells us just to trust it.
There's some big lines in the sand
Yes.
here, and I'm like,
But let's forget about all that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
let's
let's
forget
just
about that.
drop
All that.
it.
I'm getting triggered because I'm a stan Twitter goblin monster. Not really, but. Let's look at this. So Miley Cyrus, I mean, come on, guys. Miley Cyrus is one of a kind. Stop it.
She's a go. And listen. I see the through line here, which is that they were all like really, really big when we were kids, and now people kind of know their names but don't necessarily keep up to date on their careers. And so I get that that's what he's going with here. Yes, they might not be like the most watched people in the world, but you all know who they are, and when they do come up, people are, you know, at least semi-interested. But it's just kind of a little ridiculous and laughable because Miley Cyrus's career right now
has taken one of the most shocking and biggest plot twists that I think any mainstream pop girl has ever taken. So yes, she could be recast.
Is she easily replaceable when she's, like you said, gone through all these eras? First, we all know her as Hannah Montana. Okay, so that was country. Then we got her in her kind of chaotic, like, you know, gossip blog era where she was doing crazy things, Wrecking Ball, blah, blah, blah.
We got bangers.
And then we had her as Grammy winner of Song of the Year or Record of the Year. I don't know. And then now she came back with this really experimental pop record. And it's like she's constantly reinventing herself, like one of your favorites, Swiftologist, and also one of my favorites, I might add. She's constantly reinventing herself, and she's very relevant in my opinion. And whenever she does these crazy changes, it always draws attention. And so it's like, are we going to say that she's like a supporting actress when I think she's a main character? And I'm not saying she should be in Seven, but I think...
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, totally. I wouldn't say that either.
When you look at this crew, I'm sorry, again, no shade to Selena, but I can't name one Selena album besides the one that just came out. I respect Halsey, and I really liked The Great Impersonator, but she has gone on record and said that her label doesn't want to fund her because she doesn't make hits anymore. They all want her to be Taylor Swift, and she's not Taylor Swift. And it's like, because he said that they don't have to worry about these things like these other girls. Halsey's admitting that she has to worry about getting support from her label. There's just like, there's inconsistency between each one of these people, and I know that they're all unique and it's hard to do it. It's arbitrary. I just don't get what the through line is when you actually take a closer look at it. And Demi Lovato, I'm not even going to say anything about Demi Lovato.
I know we're not making judgments on quality, but like, yeah, Demi Lovato's output this year compared to Miley Cyrus is kind of the polar opposite. Demi Lovato at this point just feels like a boardroom of dudes watching Charlie XCX music videos and being like, this is your new thing. Unrecognizable amounts of don't really care about saying that because look up Demi Lovato 2012. We all know like that this is not.
Like I said, Miley Cyrus has gone through all this reinvention, but it feels true to what she wants to do. Demi Lovato, like you said, it feels like someone's deciding what's going on for her.
Regardless of quality, I feel like that alone says a lot about someone's career.
Yeah, because that to me says she should be lower because she has a lack of control and a lack of her own embodiment.
She's desperate for how to claw back into the kind of relevant zone.
And that makes me feel really sad for Demi Lovato. Actually, like I feel really bad.
It kind of freaked me out when I watched her. I forget what interview it was. Oh, it was with Trisha Paytas. It was an interview with Trisha Paytas because I was like, who even is this? Like, it's almost like a horror movie. Like, I do feel bad for her. I'm not trying to be mean or be like anti-woman.
I liked how she was before.
No, I don't have a problem with how she was before.
And now she's like Kim K. Like,
yeah,
gross.
Yeah, totally.
And it's,
I don't have a problem. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I really don't have a problem with how people look at all.
I actually love how iconic she was before this.
They them is iconic.
I even think that's literally what I was gonna say. Demi Lovato used she they pronouns, and I'm pretty sure she said that now she doesn't use the they them because it's too confusing. But I'm also thinking to myself, well, yeah, or was it just because now she has to be a Kardashian and she can't be like a non-binary person anymore? I know, like, I'm not trying to be like the woke mob here, but I'm just like, all I'm saying is when it feels like an artist has decisions being made for them and it includes her entire look and aesthetic and as well as her gender identity, that's crazy. And so that to me, it kind of indicates that she's actually a lower level than someone like Miley Cyrus, who's always had like control, always owned that image, and she's only grown from there.
Yeah,
she's
for better
only,
or for worse, she's owned that
she's
image,
only become more embodied in herself as a pop star, and that is not true for Demi Lovato, and I feel really bad for her, and I'm really sorry, Demi Lovato.
I totally agree
I'm
with
really
you.
sorry to you.
Yeah, great point.
And also, I love Halsey, but I love Halsey. I'm just gonna say that I love Halsey. She's cool.
Polar opposites
No
of the
idea what
spectrum,
anyone-
though.
Every single person here should probably be on a different level. Miley up, Selena down, Halsey. Honestly, Halsey might be good, actually. No, Halsey should go down.
Halsey's
Just
down.
because she doesn't even have support from her own label. That's to me telling me she should go down, and Demi should go down. So this whole level to me is just scraps. Chappell Roan could go here, and he could say, well, she might go up or down.
She can go up or down.
But this to me is a botched mess. This is a botched mess. This
Talk
honestly,
about people who have literally nothing in common. Like,
just that they were child actors and big in the 2010s, but that is not a reason to put the pop girls on the same level. They're all at different levels of fame.
Their function is what roots them together. They can reliably generate interest, they can have hits, they can tour, they can return after a quiet period and maybe still be received as legitimate pop figures, but they respond to the agenda instead of setting it. Two of these supporting pop girls are conditional placements, Demi Lovato and Camila Cabello. They are both level 4 artists, but with an asterisk. Demi is not in level 2 based on her current flop era, see her tour ticket sales, because her era of influence, as I mentioned earlier, was real, sustained, and culturally legible. She was more than present, she mattered for quite a long time. Her voice, persona, and narrative helped shape a specific era of pop, particularly in the 2010s.
I don't want to keep being like, whoa, look at what's below. So Demi Lovato, last time she had hits, I was a baby. I was in grade school last time she had hits. And Camila Cabello is one of the most annoying, generic, redundant figures in all of pop music. So it really makes me scratch my head as to why Chappell Roan is below her.
We can talk about this later, but I just feel like he kind of put his personal judgments in this, which is okay, but then he tried to say that it was not subjective, and then he had to come up with these arbitrary descriptions for why they were right and not just this is how I would put it, and that's fine. But I just feel like Camila Cabello above Chappell Roan.
I get that Demi Lovato had her heyday, but Camila Cabello has never had a heyday.
Just except for Senorita, maybe.
Whoa.
I love it when you call me Senorita. That's all I have to say.
Camila Cabello is a different kind of conditional case. She's had genuine pop omnipresence at the time.
This is the 7 levels
levels of hell. We need that needs to be
I'm gonna when I edit this.
Multiple major hits and moments where culture and charts actually aligned around her. But CXOXO marks a transitional phase for her. It's not a flop exactly, but it is a decentering of her relevance in the mainstream.
But CXOXO marks a transitional phase for her. It's not a flop exactly, but it is a decentering of her relevance in the mainstream.
Also, it's really funny because Camilla's last output was literally universally dogged on, except for by Swiftologist.
Connect the dots.
It was universally dogged on, so this just feels like a way to big up his opinion on Camilla for no reason and dog on Zara Larsson because it gets engagement.
He did change his mind because I believe he said he didn't like it and then he bought the CD for Camila Cabello. So I would just say, Swiftologist, we know you can change your mind. You're very, you know.
Yeah. You don't need to buy the album to Camila Cabello though, like ever.
Also, you can reconsider your opinions on some other people if you're gonna reconsider Camila Cabello. Because at that point, just like Zara Larsson.
Camilla is kind of the dumpster, honestly.
No, we cannot be shitting on Camilla.
Why?
No, just it's fine. It's fine.
Don't talk about her.
No, I just don't. I don't want us to be the haters here, except for on Swiftologist, because he's the one who's like honestly hating, and we're the ones who are just trying to rectify the hating.
This is a trick because this is our vehicle to make a extensive commentary on a bunch of pop girls. Okay, so this is a trick. So, this is a trick. This
is all gonna get cut. So anyway, just let's keep going. We need to move on.
But no real mainstream authority. That's not failure by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a narrow.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Get Out?
Can I explain?
We're trying to watch the movie Get Out after this, so we're trying to end this quick. Yeah.
I wouldn't have put Miley Cyrus in this category based on her recent output, but because Endless Summer Vacation yielded Flowers, a billion streams, won her Grammy, it reignited her spotty music footprint. You need just enough reinvention to stay relevant without enough disruption to destabilize your brand at level 4. This is kind of the more of the same, please, artist category.
He did say they seemed uneven in retrospect.
What he's saying is she won the Grammy for Flowers, so she's this high, but if I was basing it off something beautiful, she'd be lower.
Confusion or long gaps and sudden pivots, and it's not because these artists lack talent, it's because they're operating without structural power. They can succeed, they can have huge moments, but they can't afford to miss too often. Miley went from a billion streams and a #1 hit to a commercial flop with something beautiful.
Boom, I told you! I thought I was being a little uncharitable, but he just said it. But he just said it.
Listen, nope, I'm gonna try to put this is my thinking cap.
Let's just pretend
we're objective. We're objective. We're not talking about something beautiful. We're talking about how it didn't do well for streams and all that jazz.
We're bootlicking.
Even with that in mind, she took a risk and pushed the genre further, which he mentioned being something important. So if we're pushing the genre further and we're doing something for the betterment of the industry, and we're also rebranding ourselves and not staying fixed in one sound, which is also the trait of someone who is not going to progress in their career, that's a good sign. Either way, I don't care if it wasn't quite as successful as the album that had like literally the biggest song of the year, Flowers. Like, yeah, the next era is going to maybe be a little bit of a flop in comparison.
Especially if it's experimental.
I feel like I'm talking to a wall because he's not here.
That's true. But he said that people in this space do not matter on moving the genre forward. So I'm so excited to see who he thinks moves this genre forward.
Level 5 is the first one where your pop stardom isn't just speculative. Everything below this is a bit conditional, promising but subject to collapse. Level 5 is where a footing of some description is found, more than just one song, an era, or a year, or even a few good years. But even here, power doesn't look or behave the same, and it doesn't protect everyone equally. This is the mistake people make when they talk about successful pop girls, as if success is a single state that you enter and never leave. It isn't. Level 5 fractures into 3 very different kinds of authority, and I think confusing them is how people end up overestimating who's actually at the top. Level 5A,
every time that I think I'm close to the end. It's 3 different levels of, oh my god.
Okay, I want him to be nuanced, and he's trying to give us the nuance, but the problem
is the worst way to do it. I feel
this is just At this point, I would have just done more tiers or whatever. But level 5A,
I get
the
that babies
Inevitables.
watch YouTube and you have to make a baby thumbnail that has a billion colors in it. The Inevitables, unless proven otherwise.
Level 5A artists are those whose ascent into the main pop girl ranks is most likely. When the generational change of the pop girl guards eventually happens, they'll be eligible for their coronations. Their releases are treated as events before they even exist. They don't just drop music, they arrive with expectations and projections and think pieces about what they represent for music. This is where Olivia Rodrigo, Billie Eilish, newly Sabrina Carpenter, and Dua Lipa currently live.
Okay. These four, I do see a common thread in that they are all relevant in the 2020s. These artists are okay together. Olivia Rodrigo is very well known and is even when she's not releasing because she hasn't released for a while now. And when she did release, it was huge. Both of those albums were bangers and everyone cared about them. And people troll her for making.
I think if we're talking about the title Inevitable, Olivia Rodrigo, boom.
Yeah, she's a lock. Billie Eilish. I want to see what the other levels are called, but maybe
I think you can put Billie Eilish higher, and I think the only reason why Olivia doesn't go that high is because she didn't do anything this year or last year.
I feel like that's really important to know.
Yeah.
And then Sabrina, I can't believe Sabrina and Chapel are not like tied together right now. It's kind of frustrating. Chapel was 2 weeks from now I'm dropping, everyone would lose their minds and the internet would break.
Yeah. Because Sabrina just dropped the mid pack and she's getting gassed up for dropping the mid pack. Dua Lipa, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who the fuck cares about Eternal Optimism? Are you joking me? Do you know how hard I had to think before I came up with the title of that last album?
Radical Optimism.
Exactly.
Dua Lipa, yes, I agree. She should be in the top half of this list because Dua Lipa is her hits are so known. But I don't agree that she belongs.
No, but let's apply the same scenario. If she said,
I'm releasing in 2 weeks.
I'm releasing, yeah, literally.
People will be like, your last album was a flop. We don't know.
People will be like, okay, cool.
I'm not saying she can't be on this
Because
level.
I think we do have different opinions on her singles from her last record. Let's think about Training Season. Even though I like it better than You, that was a forced single. It wasn't no Dance the Night Away, was it?
Dance the night away. It wasn't even I got no rules, I got.
It wasn't, and we have to acknowledge that when talking about the Inevitables.
It wasn't even what's the baby song? You want me? I want you, baby. See, it wasn't even that. Those are hits.
Training Season and Houdini. Yeah, there you go. Houdini. They were a little forced. I don't think they were bad songs by any stretch, but they were forced hits. They were not natural like those other ones. So let's move Dua Lipa down a peg because
to a different section of this.
That's
does
what I
not
mean.
belong with these girls. She doesn't. She might be on 5, but she doesn't belong with these 3.
She's not no Olivia Rodrigo. Shut the fuck up. We both don't love Billie Eilish music, but she's no Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish. If I don't really care for Billie Eilish music that much, if she said I'm dropping in 2 weeks, shit would go down.
And also, we would have to listen to it. Like if Dua Lipa released, I'd be like, I'll get to it. If Billie released,
shit would go down.
We'd have to listen to it. These are events. Like these are moments you have to tune into whether you like it or not. And Dua Lipa is right now. I'm not saying she can't have a comeback, but right now it's not looking like that.
The industry trusts them and their audience shows up early. Their names alone can generate oxygen. Do you see kind of why Chapel Roan is almost in this category, but not quite yet? Something I would say 5As are missing is surviving a really destabilizing failure. Yeah. I was kind of torn on including Dua Lipa here because I don't think that Radical Optimism had that much of a interesting mainstream pop commercial footprint. But the stadium crowds of her latest tour have proven that her image is a lot more resilient than her music, and it's kind of carrying her for right now.
I guess you're pocket watching Ticketmaster. I get it.
Yeah, we don't. This isn't even the worst to take. This is like a lighter take on him. So like we don't even need a dog pile on this. Let's just keep.
The 5A pop girl is relatively green. She hasn't weathered the flop project after her breakthrough, emphasis on after her breakthrough. Sabrina's prior flops don't count, as Short and Sweet was effectively her ground zero, which forces them to renegotiate their relevance rather than confirm it. They're not just being judged on their music, they're being judged on whether their inevitability will actually hold. And pop history tells us that sometimes it doesn't. Level 5A is a gilded holding pattern. It's the narrow ledge between becoming a main pop girl and discovering that your ceiling is lower than you might have thought. Level 5B, niche legends. This is about authorship, and here's the key differentiator. 5B pop girls will never ascend to the 6th or 7th level. Commercial ubiquity is not their forte.
Bro, niche legends is gonna make you crash the fuck out.
So again, we have a category where people can't move, even though he told. Okay, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm just like beating a dead horse.
However, these are artists who don't need that consensus to matter. Radio sales, mass influence, these things aren't as crucial for their legacy. Sometimes the stars align and it happens anyways, but inconsistently. Their influence runs kind of sideways, adjacent to the main pop girl, into aesthetics, language, and how other pop girls, including those who are above them on the ladder, imagine themselves. Some people would argue that these are the most influential pop operatives of all. Charlie XCX, Lana Del Rey, Lorde, Grimes, Phoebe Bridgers, Tinashe, Rosalia, Robin, Carly Rae Jepsen.
Whoa.
Okay.
Did he say Grimes?
That's high. Lana and Rosalia in the same category.
You know what? He is right that some of the bigger pop girls do take their inspiration from girls who are lower than them, and so I completely agree that's something to consider. Just because you're on top doesn't mean that you're the most original.
P.
The idea of Grimes being on the same level as Olivia Rodrigo.
See, this is where we're losing the... I feel like almost I'm lost because I feel like I've talked about so much shit at this point. Like, I feel like my brain is scrambled. And I'm lost, so maybe we're all in the same boat together, but let's just try and push through regardless. Okay, so for niche legend, let's start with Lana Del Rey. That's very agreeable.
Oh, she should 100%. 5 is where she belongs.
Yes, huge.
She's the most 5 person of all time
Yeah.
on the pop girls.
She's
like,
inevitable.
scale.
She's huge, and she...
And she does influence those people above her.
She
Taylor
does
Swift.
definitely, yeah. She has the work to back it up. I think that Lana is a legend. Charlie XCX, I think the thing about it is I think Charlie XCX's kind of shit went from here to here really fast, and I'm not against it, and I think it's definitely warranted. But I think ultimately people are mostly just looking at the Brat album when there's really a lot more to dig into with her.
His description kind of seems like he was talking about Charlie, about moving from that internet online community and then to being a niche legend. That feels like what he was talking about. Like, this was made for Charlie, kind of.
I feel like the discourse is so crazy because now people talk about Charlie like she's always been here, like she's always been a legend, like she's always been respected in mainstream conversations, at least, which in my opinion is a little performative. I don't think it's true. I don't think people talked about Charlie like that in mainstream conversations as much, but I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. Honestly, I'll give this to Swiftologist. I was not that engaged in 2017. I'm sorry.
When were you engaged?
Never. But I have been listening to Charlie for... I know this you hear this from everyone, okay? So just trust me. I have been listening to Charlie for a really long time, and I never really expected her to be like regarded at the same level as someone like Lana Del Rey in terms of mainstream appeal. But a lot changed in a year for her, and I do have to acknowledge that. So I don't know. And maybe people are going back and digging into her work. She got her flowers right away. You know, that could be true too. Honestly, yeah, I would put her up there with Lana Del Rey at this point. But I think historically, this was never true.
Yeah, this is not an average.
I'll
Listen,
give it
I'm
to-
the Lord
I'll give
fan.
it to
I'm
her.
the Lord fan here. And I would say,
okay.
yeah, because you know what? She's always been important. She's kind of like Olivia with Driver's License. From the first single, everyone was hooked and wanted to know more about this character. Has she always been supported for her eras? No, not necessarily.
Again, it's more of a retrospective thing, I
Yeah.
feel like.
But Virgin has been critically acclaimed, not necessarily streamed a lot, but I do think that it's critically acclaimed. People really were looking forward to her release, and it was an occasion. I think it was an occasion, much like some of these other girls. I would say I'm on board with it, but I'm also a Phoebe Bridgers fan. It's a little hard for me to wrap my head around Phoebe Bridgers being in this list because I don't think of Phoebe Bridgers as being a pop girl. She has a lot of really important music, and her work with Boy Genius, great. And I'm not saying that it has not crossed over into mainstream at all or on TikTok or whatever, because I'm not saying that. I don't really know what to make of this. I think he maybe likes Phoebe Bridgers and really wanted to give her a shout out here. I don't really know. I honestly don't know where I'd put her, and so I'm not like mad about it, but it's a little confusing. Grimes is not in a 5. She's not a 5 on here.
I think that comparing her to Lana Del Rey is like...
Lana Del Rey is infamous.
It's Lana Del Rey.
Charlie XCX has recently been huge. Lord has had
Lord is
really,
huge.
really big moments. Grimes.
Tinashe, Rosalia, Robin, Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, shit. I didn't think
Tinashe.
Tinashe would be brought up on this. Okay, Tinashe... Lower. I'm
You were a
sorry.
Tinashe fan, and I just feel like that is like...
I think comparing Tinashe to the level
about FK
of Charlie XCX and Lana Del Rey and in the other level Billie Eilish, I love Tinashe, but she was, I think, on Dancing with the Stars.
It's not about quality. It's not about quality.
Yeah,
It's not
I
about
know.
quality.
I'm not
It's
saying
so
anything.
We are fans of these people, and I'm still just like having
Yeah.
a hard time wrapping my mind around how he decided this. Tinashe, Grimes.
Like, he's right that Tinashe has been around for a real long
Super
time.
based.
But let's talk about Megan Trainor. She's been around for a long time too. Like Tinashe, like
I just feel like the niche legends thing is not a good idea for one this level of fame.
High. Yeah,
this
we're
level
going
of fame.
real high. And especially if we're talking about Lana Del Rey. I feel like if we're talking about Lana Del Rey and Charlie XCX, I think we have to change the conversation a little bit.
They can be in the anticipating their release, I think, at this point. And we still have a whole nother level to talk about.
Yeah.
So I don't get how do these pieces fit together? I don't know. Especially because 4 was just a bunch of random Disney actresses who have like music careers now, and that was the link.
It's gonna be like a Marty Supreme like ending where he just ties it all up perfect. Like he ties all these crazy storylines up like perfectly. I think that's what I'm predicting at least. What do you think?
Marty Supreme paid us to say that.
Yeah. This video is sponsored by Marty Supreme. Please go to Marcus Theater and get the Marty Supreme Kevin O'Leary butt spanking paddle popcorn bucket. Thank you. Yeah, use promo code 322.swiftologist.
Slash Tinashe.
Yes,
Nasty
Tinashe nasty. Thank you.
Most main pop girls, as I often see them referenced on the internet, misses the point of their existence entirely. Their power is the persistence of influence, how often they're referenced instead of how high they rank. We evaluate their success by how their work becomes a shorthand, while mainstream pop from level 1 to level 6 borrows from them without really citing their sources. What's important here is that these artists have already survived destabilization. They've been written off, they've been mocked or ignored, they've made alienating creative choices, and none of it has really stuck to destroy their careers. If anything, resistance has clarified them.
That's true, but I feel like I don't think that should put you that high. Is having a fan base that's stable shouldn't make you one of the highest levels of pop stardom in the industry.
Selena Gomez has had a lot of fans from a very young age, and yet Selena Gomez is not like a level 5 on this scale. And so that just tells me that some of these other artists maybe, this is not a good way to do it. I'm sorry, Swiftologist.
Yeah.
You know who I found really difficult to place when I was making this ladder? Doja Cat. I'm torn between placing her in 5A, 4, and 5B. I'm not sure that Doja is exactly a niche main pop girl because she's a bona fide hitmaker, but she certainly is interacting with her mainstream success in ways that Sabrina Carpenter or Olivia Rodrigo aren't. She's more dynamic with her persona, a real shapeshifter, but as of late, her antics and her refusal to please her audience is kind of working against her. She's antagonistic towards her own fan base, which could cripple her legacy. V also has the business success that I think people automatically expected of her, so if that kind of decay continues, I could see her descending into a level 4 as her relevance declines, but I'm going to tentatively place her in 5A for now.
Let's talk about Doja Cat. I think we could have ditched the whole Phoebe Bridgers, and Doja Cat is a humongous artist. Has had numerous hits on all of her records except for V. Like, I know that this is all in terms of the industry, this is all in terms of sales, this is all in terms of gauging the fan base. I understand that is the point of this video, but I don't know. I don't really like this narrative around V that he's trying to say. Trolling her audience, or she's playing against her audience. I think she made an artistic choice that I wish more people that were as big as her would make. And to be honest, it wasn't that risky, and I honestly don't think it was that antagonistic either. And maybe this is just coming from a place of bias, because I think that Doja Cat lays down like an example that I think a lot of other pop girls should follow. I think she's constantly trying new things. I think she's constantly trying to portray herself in the most authentic way possible, and sometimes that leads to conflicts with how cohesive her albums are and all that, and how cohesive her discog is. But I would take that over just trying to force something that isn't you. So I don't know. I feel like Doja Cat definitely belongs in this tier. She's huge. Like, I think she might be bigger than Lana Del Rey, to be honest with you.
Can I also add that I can't wait for when we're old and people talk about Doja Cat the way that they talk about David Bowie or Grace Jones, these artists who
They're gonna be like, who's this goofy ass?
yeah, these people are remembered as people who were just so authentically themselves, and sometimes that was like offensive to other people, but in the end they were just great. Yeah, but in the end they were great artists, and so we all don't care, and we now think it was cool and quirky. Someday Doja Cat's moments are going to be remembered, and people are going to think that was iconic, and they missed the moment.
Who once held real authority, sometimes enormous authority, the culture definitely organized around them. Their eras mattered, their hits were very unavoidable, but that authority has settled into memory. Katy Perry, Kesha, Avril Lavigne, Pink, Kelly Clarkson,
Okay,
120,
guys,
40. Someone calls us a
I'm
flop.
going to be honest with you. I'm so lost in the sauce right now. Like, there's so much going on. We've talked about a billion people. I'm so lost. I don't even know. What are we even talking about at this point? Wait, how could these simultaneously be flopping the biggest? I don't understand.
Can we just speed run this by saying, yes, these people are super relevant in the way that everyone knows who they are, and they all have songs that have lasted for many years, and they are not newcomers in any way, and we understand how their legacy is probably going to move forward from here. Yes, they do pose a threat of only harming their careers, and it doesn't seem like
Except for honestly, I feel like Kesha
can only actually get
Probably gain more,
more because
The 2010s revival is coming, guys. You aren't ready, and it's gonna favor people like Kesha.
yeah, not like Katy Perry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I agree that these are the upper echelon of pop girls in a way that very few people will ever achieve. Avril Lavigne is always brought up, and Pink is silently like one of the biggest stars of all time. Like her tour sales are insane.
Is that true?
People want to see her flying around in the air, which I love Pink. I think she's iconic. This might be the most agreeable opinion he's had this entire video. So
How hard is it to prop up the Pink and Kesha and Avril Lavigne?
Will their tour sell out? Will their influence on pop not be forgotten? And are they
I think
referenced?
it will, just because of revival, like the whole revival culture. I think there's a chance. So
And their new releases are probably received only in relation to what they used to be. Their back catalogs are probably more valuable than their future. But the difference between a level 4 and a level 5C is subtle but important. Level 4 artists are still trying to expand their authority, and they get the chance to do it. But level 5C artists have it, and they're just holding on to it. Their power is archival, but it's quite emotional for the audience. And I think this kind of permanence is definitely an achievement in and of itself. Level 5 is the real bottleneck. Most pop girls probably never make it from here, or they descend back down to level 4. The jump from level 4 to level 5 requires consistent innovation and relevance. Many of the level 4 girls that we've mentioned can do one but not the other. Can we look at AOCXOXO as a good example? Sure, she's trying something new and stretching boundaries of what she's been known to be capable of.
Can we look at AOCXOXO as a good example? Sure, she's trying something new and stretching boundaries of what she's been known to be capable of.
The jump from level 5 to level 6 is something even
I think that's a really questionable assessment of Camila Cabello.
I don't want to ignore that. My anger has calmed down, but maybe it's because I'm getting like
Sedated by the amount of
It's like
shit
being
that we're
lulled. It's
going
like a
through. Yeah,
pocket
or
watch
the
face.
Avril
Get out.
Lavigne. Do you remember Kesha?
Level 6. These are the main pop girls, so it better be.
Wait, have we made it? Or is there a 7?
7.
Oh.
Okay, because 7 is gonna be like Britney, Madonna,
Yeah.
Mariah Carey.
the ability to literally reorganize the industry as you participate in it. That's why everything about this level spins out dramatically. At level 6, we meet the main pop girls, who are more than popular. They are unavoidable. With everyone else in every other position on this ladder, you can argue whether they're X or Y. When it comes to the main pop girls, you can't argue about them. They just are. And here they are: Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, and
Okay.
He says Ariana too.
Can I be really honest with you guys? And you guys can boo me in the comments if you want. I think there's two people on here who are actually level 7, and I think it's Taylor
Okay,
Swift
hold up.
and Beyonce.
Hold up, let's hear his other. Okay, I think it was just Ari. Okay.
So, in my opinion, Ariana should have been just given her own like little slot here. Rihanna doesn't release music anymore. I love Lady
Yeah.
Gaga so
I think
much.
that I would sub, and I'm not being. And this is not like the pissed off like this is. Yeah, I would sub Ari though.
I would put Ariana
sub
in
Ari.
for Taylor and Beyonce need to be up above. Beyonce's been around since the 90s, and she just won Album of the Year, and she had like one of the biggest female like opening debuts for like 2024 when she released. She's how old? She's 44, and that's, I'm not saying she's actually old. I'm just saying in terms of pop years. Beyonce is so relevant. She does not need to prove. She's not a main pop girl. She is the pop girl. Taylor Swift has been around since 2006. Wait. I'm confused. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Right now my brain's
Yeah,
working.
it doesn't matter.
But regardless, Taylor Swift has been around since the 2000s and has time and time again proved why she's always going to be relevant. And I think the Eras Tour proved that dominance is going to be remembered forever. And in that way, Taylor Swift is going to be like a Mariah Carey, a Britney Spears, a Madonna. And so I honestly just think that both of them needed to be moved up. And I know he maybe was trying to be humble since he's Swiftologist, but it's kind of well known. Ariana should be in this tier with her own slot instead. But Rihanna doesn't release, but she's still goated, so she makes sense. Lady Gaga is always going to be iconic in the moment. She should be a main pop girl. I can't think of another person right now who I'd say.
Yeah, I like half agree with you. I think that Ariana should be like, I mean, I know you mentioned Ariana's name, but I think Ariana does need to be like in this like pictured, because I feel like this is like the main. I would take Beyonce out. I feel like this Beyonce conversation, it doesn't need to be had. I think Beyonce is a legend for forever. Get her out of here. We're gonna move her on up. Shout out.
I was waiting for that niche reference.
She's a legend. We got to move her up. Put Ari there. Honestly, Taylor Swift, I think the only thing that's holding her back, to be honest with you, is I think she might be one of those artists that people obviously know the name of going into the future, but people are going to be like, wow, she's really that big. Like, I think she's going to be one of those artists, because I think her discog just really isn't very strong, and I think that's the thing that's going to hold her back. I don't think people are going to really grasp the magnitude of how big she was in 2023, in 2022, in this kind of era. I get that she has crazy longevity, but a lot of artists do. I mean, a lot of artists do. It's not, it is miraculous, but it's not the most miraculous thing. But her discog is kind of weak. Like, honestly.
Well, obviously I disagree about the discog thing, so I don't even need to address that, but cannot think of a single artist whose longevity literally could only only increase over like 20 years of making music like that. Like she went from being important in her like genre to crossing genres and being the most important in that genre.
I feel like I don't like the crossing genres thing though, because I feel like it's like, okay, pop country to regular pop. Like I get I get it, but
I mean, yeah, but who else would do that?
I wouldn't call Beyonce like I don't know, like I wouldn't call Beyonce like, oh, she crossed over into doing country. It's like she did a country album that was very much in line with like still her aesthetics. Like I mean, it's still a classic, but it doesn't. I wouldn't commend her. I do commend her for it, but I wouldn't commend her for being like, oh, she's just genre hopping like demon.
Right, but she was already established when she did that. Taylor was like,
I guess,
like lesser known. Compared to Beyonce when she's been doing this, and I know I don't like the genre conversation either, but I do think when you're talking about her, I just feel like it's gonna get brought up either way, whether you like it or not. And the Eras Tour is just so important, whether you like it or not. It's humongous, like the biggest tour of all time, arguably. And I'm not saying that Life of a Showgirl is great because of that, and I'm not saying anything about the quality of the recent albums. There's nothing to do with it. I just think she's always going to be important to talk about. And
I think that being said, it's definitely undoubtable that you have to put her in the main, though.
Also,
you got to put her in the main.
I
don't know. It's an old ass picture.
Why didn't he? She's like not. Oh my god. Whatever.
Yeah, but you do have to put her in the main, though. I'm not advocating for her to be lower than main. Obviously. Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. I'm not advocating for her to be lower than main. I just think that Beyonce should go up and Taylor should stay here.
Here are the 4 main questions that I asked myself when settling on who belongs in this tier. Can she sell at a stadium in 3 global cities tomorrow? Could she drop a lead single that will debut in the top 5 and hold there or hit number 1? Does she already have multiple number 1 singles and albums? Has she ever flopped and recovered from a flop or weathered a public scandal with no visible dent to her impact? Every artist here has survived a moment that could have ended them, a backlash or a period of cultural exhaustion and fatigue, and emerged from it with a reinforced sense of self.
As much shit as I'm giving him, those are good criteria for sure.
The only time you used criteria for one of these.
I actually agree with all those. I think you can apply them. Let's see, Rihanna. Well, Rihanna.
If Rihanna was gonna drop something or like announce a tour,
yeah,
the tickets gone. And I hate like when people like put her above like Ariana in like importance right now, because I think that is over dramatic, because Ariana is like literally still doing the thing.
Right, Ariana's still cooking. Yeah.
But Rihanna is really important. Her scale cannot be understood considering that she doesn't release music.
They can afford silence and risk and to be disliked for a little while because they're not auditioning anymore. Here's something that people don't realize. There are never very many main pop girls at once, and the guard changes slowly. The music industry cannot sustain 10 central figures simultaneously. Centrality requires scarcity. Someone has to lose attention for someone else to gain it. That's why level 6 always looks sparse and always will. It's also why the jump into level 6 is so rare. It doesn't come from a single hit or even a flawless run of albums. It comes from repeated proof that the culture cannot move on without you. I want to pause here because I know 2 of these names are going to make people hesitate: Rihanna and SZA. And that hesitation is useful because it helps me illustrate my thought process. Her absence hasn't weakened her position, it's actually strengthened it. Pop didn't move beyond Rihanna. We just accepted the inevitable fact that she'll come back whenever she feels like it, and she interacts with it on her own terms. That's kind of what makes her Rihanna. SZA is a different kind of borderline case because her power doesn't announce itself as loudly as a Gaga, Ariana, Beyonce, or Taylor. For a long time, her career looked more like a 5B, a niche altar plagued by long delays between releases, self-sabotage, record label infighting attention, all the things that can kneecap a 3B or a 4. By most standards, I think she should have stalled there, respected and influential, but not central. And this is usually where you matter deeply to the people who are paying attention, but that's the operative word, the people who are paying attention.
This is what I want to say about SZA. I do disagree with putting SZA this high. Even SZA toured with Kendrick Lamar. She could release a single that would meet his criteria. I don't doubt it, in fact. But the touring, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would put SZA above like Billie Eilish into the level of someone like Lady Gaga, or as Beyonce, or even Rihanna.
In defense of SZA, I don't know that I necessarily agree with this. I want to chew on that one a little bit. But what I will say is that SOS was like in the top 10 on the Billboard, like for albums, I mean, forever. And it has been forever. But then she released the deluxe, and then that still counts. And so I feel like that's where it gets a little like, I just want to see maybe 1 or 2 more eras from her before I feel like that is like locked and loaded. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe this is more of a predictive
that
nod.
could be.
I might not put her above some of the people in the previous tiers. Like, I'm thinking especially of Billie Eilish. And I don't love Billie Eilish, but I'm just being real here with you guys. I'm just being real. I don't think we can put her on the same level as, because we're talking about Gaga and Rihanna and Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Like come on, that doesn't, that can't sit right, can it? Gaga, Beyonce. Gaga,
Delusional.
Beyonce, Rihanna, SZA.
Nobody gets me all
right.
Lastly, we have level 7, which is the logical endpoint of main pop girldom. Here we've got Madonna, Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, Janet Jackson. By the time someone reaches level 7, the jury's in, and there's
no notes.
If you fuck this up, though, you'd be done.
You'd be really dumb if you did this wrong. And honestly, if I could add one more, do you know who I'd add? I would also add Whitney Houston. These are all like right, like not.
I feel like Mariah Carey feels the kind of.
All right. Yes. These
The
are correct.
vocalist.
Just based off the rest of this video, I can't believe he actually gave Janet Jackson a shout out. I didn't agree with him a lot of the time, but by the end, we could agree on something.
Let's end it.
Let's say Swiftologist, if you see this.
Fuck you.
No. We don't hate you. We just wanted to understand your
Delusional
processing.
mind. You have a delusional mind and you need to stop. You have a delusional mind and you talk about the pop girls. But listen, Swiftologist, this is from me to you. You need to listen to more music. I'm sorry, bro. You need to, and you could stay listening to this weird ass shit. Like I saw your end of the year video. You can stay listening to this weird industrial ass shit. Like what? I don't know what the fuck you were recommending on there. Some cat's eye ass sounding shit. Like you could stay doing that. But you gotta. But if you want to talk about FKA Twigs, listen. You swerved that Kim Petras shit. Yeah. I was eyeing Kim Petras. Is not talking about narratives about why she's got fucked over by the industry. She's talking about getting. The Slut Pop series is not about how she got fucked over by the industry. That's all I'm gonna say. Swerve that one. But I think that you just need to listen to the people that you talk about. Honestly, and I'm not trying to be sly about it. I think that some of these people maybe like I would like to see a Janet lineup. I would like to see a Janet lineup real quick. Maybe you have it. I would love to see it.
Can you just apologize about the Ethel Cain and FK Twigs thing?
Just say sorry to me.
And Kim Petras.
You can say sorry to me.
Because those things don't feel like they're in your wheelhouse necessarily, and I feel like
you talked
maybe
about them in a way that wasn't reflective of them. So just say sorry to me.
I feel like you were a little out of your depth, and you went a little off base with them.
Anyways, this was a stupid ass video. Delete it, please. This was a stupid ass video, and it made my brain melt. So fucking, you can make Justin like, you can yossify Justin by saying fucking Janet Jackson is the best pop girl of all time. He's already sold. So, but those tricks don't work on me. Those tricks don't work on me. Anyways, that was it.
We all know who the real queen is. She's number one. Wake it up. Wake it up. Wake it up.
Bye.